Thank you, Minister. Deputy Tóibín.
Agat a caithfirligh agus bhuailm freisin cógordagus a go bhfuil duit mar gheall de fus nua is mór an dúshlán agus tásúla gom go nairí leat. Just in relation to the border region, 500,000 people live in the 6 counties to the south of the border. About 800,000 people live in the 5 counties just north of the border. So we're talking about 1.3 million people. It's no insignificant amount of people, and indeed I think it's roughly 21% of the population of the island in total. Due to partition, this region has become a zone of economic uncertainty. Now, we all live in a zone of economic uncertainty called Ireland at the moment, but the people living in these specific areas have to deal with further uncertainties. Now, over time, there are swings with regards to taxation. You alluded to swings with regards to currencies and inflation as well. And in the past, what's happened is that one side of the border has become a boomtown with regards to unfair competitive advantages, while the other side of the border has become a ghost town as a result of same. And what we're suggesting here is that over a period of time, the English government increased the VAT rate from 17% to 20% last January. And if we had maintained our commitment to a 21% rate in VAT, we would have near VAT harmonisation on the island of Ireland itself. But the decision to increase this rate will be detrimental to the border economies, and it will mean real outflows of shoppers, retail, trade, funds across the border itself, and not just along the border counties, but down as far as counties like my own county Meath and even Dublin itself. So what we're asking you is, on this specific issue, would you have figures with regards to potential loss of revenue that results in increasing the VAT rate? And do you have figures with how many jobs will be lost by this particular initiative?
I recognise the point. Well, first of all, I'd like to thank the Deputy for his good wishes, which is very much appreciated. I do recognise the problem very clearly that's created by, as you rightly point out, people who are living in the border region who have the problems of currency movements, of differences in tax regimes, of differences in inflation, and they are very, very serious. I think, of course, a government which has a commitment to find 9 billion extra in either tax increases or savings is going to have to look at unpalatable things, and that commitment has to try and balance different needs. Now, in envisaging a cap on the VAT rate, we're also envisaging immediate changes that would help competitiveness in the tax mix. The cutting of PRSI for employers, that does improve another dimension of the tax mix of those competing forward and back across the border. And it is always a constraint, and the reason why there is a cap on this is because we recognise that constraint. There was serious problems when the gap was very wide. The question of estimating the impact, there aren't such estimates that are available to my department. There was a report prepared by the Revenue Commissioners and the CSO in February 2009 attempting to calculate at that stage the value of cross-border trade and how much it was worth, and they had, I think, an estimate of 350 to 500 million going across the border at that stage. But obviously that waxes and wanes with currency and tax issues. And, you know, clearly there are swings and roundabouts. For example, while excises are higher in the south on whisky, they're lower on beers, they're lower on petrol and diesel. So there are swings and roundabouts in this process. But, you know, the Minister for Finance is always conscious of the impact on cross-border trade when trying to make those difficult balancing calls.
Thank you, Minister. Two questions. Very briefly, because we're over time, Deputy.
Yeah, just would the Minister, my own party is looking to bring fiscal powers pertaining to the north of Ireland back to this island. Would the Minister look to maybe eliminate those swings and roundabouts over the years by harmonising with ourselves and the administration in Stormont, harmonising the taxation rates on both sides of the island? And also just to say that we're disappointed as well that you've mentioned a number of times the plan for the jobs budget. The ERSI estimated that 50,000 people will emigrate from this state over the next 12.
We've actually gone over time.
This means that 13,000 people will actually emigrate while your government is trying to get a jobs budget into place.
Thank you, Deputy. Tara, briefly.
I accept that the challenges are huge, but I think the clear commitment of government is to introduce something in the first 100 days shows a serious sense of urgency around this. And I think equally, I think the Deputy will be aware that you have to design workable proposals, and time needs to be taken to make sure that these are effective. I mean, I think the notion that we ought to harmonise our tax regime with Northern Ireland or with the UK or with other countries raises many issues. I mean, Ministers of Finance have to cater to the needs of the day. They have to strike a balance. Those who are seeking to make similar decisions have other considerations. And I think, preserving independence and setting your tax policy is an important element of the way in which we manage our affairs. And I don't think harmonisation would be on the cards, but there will certainly be a consciousness of the impact on the border regions.
Thank you, Minister.